What is economics? The solving of what basic problem is central to the study of economics? How does that lead to opportunity costs? What three key economic questions must be answered by all economic entities? What is the economic way of thinking? How is that achieved? What assumptions are made in how economic decisions are made? This resource will answer all those questions, providing examples when appropriate. Economics can be defined as the study of making choices when dealing with scarcity. But what exactly is scarcity? It is the idea that there are limited amounts of resources. Resources are whatever we need to make goods or provide services. What are some examples of these limited resources? Time. We only have so much time to work, do schoolwork, eat, sleep, and all the other activities we need to live full lives. Unfortunately, many of those activities require money to do them, and money is definitely a finite resource. Land is another example of a scarce resource. We have to learn how to use what area we have to its optimal effectiveness. Finally, we only have a certain amount of raw materials we can use to create new goods. Since resources are limited, we must make decisions about how we use those resources we do have. Do we use our time in the evening to work a second job, hang out with the family, do errands, or work on some homework? Because we have to make these hard decisions, we have to forego possible uses for the resource. That is the idea of an opportunity cost. What did we have to give up when using our scarce resources? As another example, if we spend $100 on a new pair of sneakers, then the opportunity cost could be $100 worth of groceries, or the cost of a cable bill. But how does an economic entity decide what to use their resources for? What questions must they answer so they can create revenue? Simply put, they must answer what, how, and who. What goods or services will they provide? Will a government focus on military spending, education, or infrastructure improvement? Will a recent college graduate with an economics degree become a banker, a professor, or a personal finance advisor? Will a company possessing a good cookie recipe become a restaurant, or produce the cookies to sell? How will the goods or services be provided? Let's say the company decides to sell the cookies. Do they sell them via the internet? Do they try to sell them through a network of grocery stores? Or do they purchase a kiosk in the local shopping mall and sell the cookies there? Finally, the economic entity must decide who will be their customer. Will the company create a cartoon mascot and market toward children? Will they market to a refined palate and seek a higher-end customer base? Will they set their price point low and try to sell to a population on a tighter budget? It proves difficult to answer these economic questions. Every time we think we have an answer, some new aspect of our decision must be decided. In order to ever be able to make any sort of decision, we must use an economic model to simplify the problem. While these models may take different forms depending on the type of problem at hand, they do share certain characteristics. One main way we can simplify an economic model is to adhere to the concept of ceteris paribus. This Latin phrase literally means other things being equal. How ceteris paribus works is we try to isolate the effects of one particular variable by holding everything else constant. For example, we want to determine the effect price has on the cookie sales. So we sell exactly the same type of cookie at exactly the same time at exactly the same location with the same people around. All we change is the price, and then we can compare the level of the sales. A similar concept is the idea of marginal thinking. The idea here is to find the effect of a small, usually 1 unit change in some variable, while adhering to ceteris paribus. For example, what is the effect of raising the price of a cookie by some small amount of money? How does productivity change if we hire one more employee? How much pleasure do we get if we eat that one extra plate of food on Thanksgiving? Some parts of economics require economists to predict the reaction people will have to outside factors. For example, how will a competitor respond to a company releasing a new product or changing a price? To make these predictions, economists assume certain things about people's behaviors. In economic decisions, economists believe that people act rationally and that they act in their own self-interest. So people will do what makes logical sense as long as they get something out of the decision.